Academy's mission to regenerate the natural world. Learn more and reserve your ticket at calacademy.org. Let me tell you what's going on right now. This is the crossover at 2 o'clock. The Warriors are having their press conference to introduce their two draft picks. We're going to take that live. Hopefully it starts at 2 o'clock. We'll do the little exchange, and then Willard and Dibs will take it the rest of the way. What's up, guys?
You guys did a great job yesterday, too. I
That was fun.
that.
Well, I mean, gosh, like, you get news like that right before you get over there, get a little energy into it.
How much did that change your approach? Because that's what I was asking Steiny. I got to believe that was
entirely.
Man.
Like, can we bring people behind the curtain?
Sure.
We had an unbelievable guest list lined up.
It was humongous.
We called them all off. Because we just wanted to get, like, you
Well, call it like you see it. Lucas went 0 for 5 on bookcasts.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's the fifth?
Who's
the fifth?
I think maybe Brandin Schneider might have been.
One of the most
I'll throw him in there.
Lucas, I love you, man.
I'm going to throw in a Brandin Schneider. I love Brandin
One
Schneider.
of the fascinating things, though, was that on our list, and literally the last one where we sort of were like, do it, not do it. If he was going to be in person, we were going to do it. Then it wasn't in person, so we're like, let's not do it.
Yeah.
It was Patrick Baldwin Jr.
Oh, my
Then I get home.
Amazing.
I get home, and I'm like, wait a minute. He's not even on the team anymore.
No.
How the hell did that happen?
We could have done his exit interview.
Seriously.
And he probably didn't know at that
Of
time.
course,
he did.
he would have obviously said no thanks if he had any idea.
Yeah.
And this is no joke. This is 2 hours before he was no longer on the team. So yeah, we just wanted to do the same thing you guys did, which was talk to the people.
Well, what about now? Because we've done that and you're about to. It's been 24 hours. I still do not like the trade. I hate it more than when I heard it yesterday. But I just got to ask this, guys. How can you, from a basketball standpoint, sell us on their better? But for the first time, and I said it, my mom used to say, "Boy, you trying to live on the high hog," meaning spending money and your lifestyle. It's apparent now. I love you. The Warriors, they're not broke, but they're doing things that the average fan is not going to benefit from. All we care about is who's in the Warriors uniform. We don't care about Joe Lacob. We don't care about the investors because we've been spoiled. But it's apparent now they're cost cutting. And that's what this CP3 deal, the monies from this deal that were saved cannot go back into the basketball operation side of it.
But I think if you look at this year, CP3 is better than Jordan Poole. And if you want to look at Jordan Poole's year last year, he averaged 20 a game. He was one of only 43 players to do that. First of all, that's 8% of the league, averaged 20 or more, so it's not that special. Secondly, his field goal percentage was bottom 10 in the association. He was a volume shooter, he was a volume turnover guy, and he doesn't play defense. So now you have a guy who's going to distribute. Kuminga's going to be better to whoever's in the second unit.
That's what's concerning me.
To Clay, to Kuminga,
Great day for
to
Kuminga.
GP2. He's going to distribute to everybody. Your second unit got better by losing Jordan Poole.
With the Davis acquisition, who I think is going to be, he's got a body on him. He got
All-star, future all-star?
No, I'm just saying. If I'm Kuminga, I don't think I like that, Willard.
Well,
I hear you saying it.
I'm not putting a second rounder into the rotation yet. Like
They are.
I heard that yesterday.
Let's see where that all goes. But here's I guess what I would say, because I listened to a lot of you guys today, and there's two things that stood out that I wanted to ask you. Number one, are you a conspiracy theorist?
I am.
When it comes to this.
I am.
Because just being honest, it sounds to me, those of you who are still really bought into Jordan Poole are buying into a conspiracy level situation with the Warriors. You would believe that Steve Kerr actually doesn't like young people. And you would believe that the Warriors got to a point where here in this offseason, even then after the young man was punched by a teammate, you would believe that they then decided, okay, let's turn this into a big joke on him. Let's develop him for 3 years so that we can throw him out with the bathwater for a 38-year-old player, all in spite of ourselves and to shoot ourselves in the foot. Somewhere in there, I can't tell you what happened, but somewhere in there, I feel like a reasonable thought is that Jordan did stuff that everyone there didn't like, and they didn't think that he was a good team basketball player.
You know what, Willard? We all have families. I feel that. I hear that. You've tweeted that without actually saying it, because you're basically saying to me right now, just my 2 ears, that Draymond was justified in Jordan getting hit because it was a byproduct of him. I've heard it from JD. Everybody. He must have been talking. That's fine.
So there's two different things there, though.
Being a tyrant, but you don't deserve to get humiliated.
No, byproduct.
And he never recovered from being humiliated in front of the nation.
So byproduct, maybe. Justified, absolutely not.
All right.
Absolutely not. But here's another important point, I think. I think a lot of us act like the punch was the start of the timeline.
Oh, well.
And I can't accept that. That's when we saw it. That's when we found out about it. There's no way. Go to Clay overseas.
Saw that. I'll never forget it.
There's no way that was the starting point. For me, it seems obvious that people were already annoyed.
Of course not.
That's not the starting point of the story.
Because then, if that means Draymond punched him for nothing.
Right.
That happened before.
Right.
Or even if it was what he perceived was before. Here's the one thing I want, the money aspect. You know, the luxury tax, before the new CBA was signed, you could go over the luxury tax, and all it would cost you is money. With the new CBA comes out, now it doesn't just cost you money when you're over the tax. It costs you practical flexibility, like the mid-level exception.
Gone.
That's big.
He's right.
Like that's a problem if you don't have that, and you're through the roof luxury tax wise. So by getting Joe Lacob can say, we not only have to get under for money, we have to get under so we have some kind of flexibility moving forward.
To get additional players in, additional veterans in, and that's where I think it's so interesting, because all these deals, and I was reading John Hollinger of The Athletic earlier, and he's talking about all these deals happening now before the CBA kicks in, which it doesn't kick in for a week because the new league year doesn't start till
30th.
next Friday.
Okay.
So you've got a week to do all you can do now to have all this on the books, to where when you get to a week from now, that's when the CBA kicks in. And, for the Warriors, they don't have the ability to sign any free agent, which makes the Draymond Green thing even more, I think, impactful. And this, the chatter from Windy about Sacramento.
How about I'll play it real quick?
Before you play it,
15 seconds.
I want to give you credit for your relationship with Vivek Ranadive, because you knew Vivek before Vivek was even a player in this market. And I don't want to pull the curtain back too far, but Steiny was on the beat before Joe Lacob bought it, and Vivek and Larry Ellison, and Steiny was the guy who knew he knew all these players before they actually were players. So he goes way back with Vivek.
Vivek was a big part of Joe Lacob getting the team, because he was looking for investors, and Vivek put in a big amount of money. But then,
So when you say Vivek might want to stick it to him, from what you're talking about. That's all I'm trying to say.
Let's say something else too. If Draymond gets with the Warriors, what you have now said, you've set the baseline at about $30 million a year.
89.9.
Okay, so
that's the over/under.
Let's say that's what he gets. I want to share with our audience something that was shared with us from inside the building yesterday.
Lay it on us.
And believe me, we were inside the building trying to get out.
Right.
Oh, my gosh.
We can tell that story later. But
I don't know how many times you got to go to Chase Center until it makes sense. I've been there 100 times, and I can't figure the place out. You're just looking for light. All you're doing, you're like, there's a hallway, there's a door, there are fences. Is there light? I don't care what side of the arena I end up at. Just get me outside.
So I'm following him, and he's like, just so you know, I always get lost. Yeah. And I'm like, let's get lost.
Did I admit it? I'm like, you're following the last person you should follow right now. Anyway, this was shared with us, and I think it's important for the audience to know you can hate it, you can agree with it. This is the Warriors, and I think a lot of NBA teams thinking. Starting with what you just brought up, Steiny, the CBA next year, it is practically impossible to have 4 players making $30+ million on your team.
Okay.
So if that's a baseline, and I know there will be opinions on both sides of this, but I'd like every Warrior fan to know that automatically means that if Jordan Poole's on the team, Clay's not. Period. So you're lying in the sand. And I know some of you, if Shasky, if you're listening, you're like, fine.
Yeah.
But know that. Know that that's from inside the building. They're not doing $430+
and Joe
million
said that a couple
team.
years ago, like four might have been too many.
So if Jordan's on the team and plays out this contract, then this is Klay's last year and he's automatically gone. Period. Wow. So know that when you talk about the money aspect of this deal that happened yesterday.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco on Odyssey Station. I don't think there's any doubt that that by moving Jordan Poole, it means that Draymond and Klay can be re-signed.
Yeah,
if that's the route they want to go.
Klay will not be. That's
easy.
No, that's a next year thing.
Oh, okay. So he's going to come back.
How do you feel?
I think he's.
Could
playing,
you imagine
I think
a
he's
slow
start
start with
the
the shooting percentages, Dibs,
and
they'll be like, is he
back,
thinking about the contract?
Does that worry you at all?
Does Klay leave? They wouldn't have did this and Dre going night.
This feels like Clutch just probably trying to squeeze.
No. I'm talking about
squeeze a few
if
extra
Draymond
million.
Green's back. Any concerns about Klay being on a contract year while the two other guys have 3 more years left?
No, I think it's good that Klay's on a contract year because last summer, what did Klay do?
That's true.
Not a damn thing.
That's true.
Is what sources would tell you.
No doubt.
Klay was on his boat. He was not in the lab. And I was stealing from you while you were gone, just so you know. I mean, all kinds of references and gooisms. I was trying to keep it alive. But Klay was not in the lab. Klay was on the boat. And so this summer, he comes in motivated because Klay wants that bag. And I know he's already got more money than any of us could ever dream of. But Klay doesn't want to play badly and get $20 million. He wants to play well and get whatever, $35 million.
And don't you guys think that it's also a good thing from the perspective of Klay goes into the year, and we really don't. I don't think anyone has any idea what to pay him after this year.
No, right?
Like not 43, but is it 20? Is it 35?
The arrow should be coming down if he had some self-reflection and be like, I know what
let's see how he plays.
Unless he turns it, unless he is.
Let's see how he plays. I still do think that we remember his season incorrectly because of the way it ended.
Well, think about it in terms of Draymond. He
didn't have a bad year.
Draymond right now is more sought after than we would have thought Draymond would have been 9 months ago.
Agreed.
Do you want me to play it?
Actually, but I'm not. That doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me.
It doesn't surprise you, but the reason why he's in this spot is because he played 72 games and he was second team all defense or first team all defense. Yeah. He had a good year.
He was good.
So, hey, Klay, go have a good year because last year Klay had a good year. He had a really bad year. Then he had an unbelievable year. Yep. Then he had a pretty good year, and then he was god-awful in the playoffs.
We had the great Eddie Johnson on, and I'm going to survey and ask all three of you.
He's awesome.
Because I'm conflicted. If Jordan Poole were to go average 25 points in this league in Washington, because we did this with Wiseman, it was like 1 week he had 8. I was doing it 16 and 9. It was just weird. He can dribble. He can put it on. Would you be shocked if Jordan Poole were to average 25 and 8 next year?
No, and they'll be 30 and 52.
What I'm saying, Willard,
he's gonna be Kemba Walker.
I'm so glad you brought this up because it wouldn't surprise me, and I still wouldn't care.
But why?
Because that's not the baseline for winning.
But that's
actually look this up.
But you don't put all the like you just brought up your guy.
Kemba Walker.
He's been a great pro. We can't say, Kemba, you didn't win in Charlotte because it was all your fault.
No,
it takes a village.
Right, but that's kind of the point, and Jordan can't be a part of this village. It's clearly not working.
Okay, well, no doubt.
So
I get.
So then it doesn't matter. I guess it's kind of irrelevant.
Well, it could have if you would have kept him and said, Dre, we're not giving it to you.
Right, but the rest of the team clearly thought,
you know what?
Right, when
Steiny,
people say
Poole lost the politics game.
Yeah,
it wasn't just.
I don't even think it was just politics. Like
they didn't like him.
I think if you're a reasonable basketball observer and you ask who's more important to the Warriors, Jordan Poole or Draymond Green, you know the answer.
For Curry?
You used the word earlier, unemotional. Okay, we're fans. We're emotional. Lacob's not. Dunleavy's not. Who's more important? Kerr is not. Who's more important to us winning next year?
Okay.
They all have the same answer.
They told you that in October where they said, hey, Draymond, do you want to ride the ring night?
Now you're preaching, boy.
Whatever he did, it didn't stay in-house. And imagine if that would have stayed in-house.
It would be,
the year would have been totally different.
Everything.
It got leaked, and that's why Steve Kerr was so mad. So it gets leaked, and then the team says, you know what, Draymond? you're gonna get a Montessori punishment. You go ahead and punish yourself.
No doubt, man.
Think about what you've done. And Jordan Poole's like, wait,
my goodness.
mother, father's what?
And we got confirmation yesterday. Immediately, the question has been all year, did Jordan get over it? Is he over it? Is he okay?
Oh, I can't wait to hear this.
I don't know if y'all heard this. The second the trade broke, he goes and unfollows Draymond across all social media. That tells you that he's not over it. Right. He's not going to get over it.
And Eddie Johnson,
that's fine.
I keep going to him. He said he would have. Who cares? I'm a lover, not a fighter. Well, used to be a lover, but he said to us that if he were Jordan Poole, he would have waited. Like there would have been repercussions,
dude,
times 1,000. Like it wouldn't have went the way it went. So I guess I'm saying to you that I understand Jordan Poole unfollowing him in this day.
I understand it
because I would have never been able to get over it. Okay.
I'm not mad at him. It didn't work.
You weren't fixing it.
This didn't work.
That's amazing.
And forever you can all decide for yourselves who you want to blame for it because that's how we play it. But the Warriors, the Warriors. And again, this isn't just about the punch, about it not working, about the team vibe not working. They largely blame Jordan.
Wow, man.
I mean, that's I don't know.
Yeah, that ain't
beyond blame. It's choice. When it all came down, they had a choice to make, and they chose Draymond. And now Draymond has to choose them back. It feels like that he's going to. But all this Sacramento scuttlebutt, all that does is to go deeper into Lacob's pockets.
Well, but I also think we're simplifying it when we go Jordan versus Draymond and because of the punch. I guess what I've been trying to say, at least through my eyes, is I see this as so much bigger than that. I see this as so many things that happened all year long that showed that Jordan Poole and the team were often not on the same page with one another. So the punch is really unfortunate, actually, because it takes all the headlines.
But how much of that is born out of the punch? Because if I was Jordan Poole, I would be thinking in terms of being a basketball player, like, forget these guys. I'm going to play the way I'm going to play. They didn't have my back, so you want me to have your back?
No, I don't think it was born there. I think it made it way worse.
Sure.
Right? Like, I think it had already been born.
Right.
And then
Shout out Nathan.
Right? And then it was kind of like, okay, now it's a teenager, and now it started hanging out with the wrong people and doing drugs.
Man. I think
once you got punched.
I think he became detached.
There's no yes.
Obviously.
And his other relationships.
Obviously.
His other
sell it.
His other relationships got damaged.
Yeah.
I think his relationship with Steve Kerr.
Wiggins was that they had each other's back.
Yeah, but I think his relationship with Kerr got damaged. You know, it
Kerr
just
knew what was going on when he did that podcast. He knew one of them two dudes was up out of there.
Of course.
Yeah.
No, I think they knew before the season was over.
But tell me,
Jordan Poole.
Steiny's trying to do it, but tell me why to get excited for a 38-year-old who I know Kevin Durant told you night-night. Devin Booker told you night-night. You were supposed to be on the cusp of a championship. Dibs, why should Warrior fans, from a physical standpoint, get excited over CP3 at this age?
Because he was one of 4 players last year to average 14 and 9. And Mark will say, he got all those assists passing to good players. Right. Well, he's going to be able to pass to good players here. So I would imagine that Chris Paul, his assist numbers will still be good. He doesn't have to play 40 minutes a night. And if you look at his playoff log, they were asking him to play 40 minutes a game.
A lot of DNPs.
In Phoenix.
Yeah.
If you look at his playoff history, it's not every single year. We all want to say, he's hurt every year in the playoffs. No, he's 18 years in, and he's been hurt in 4 years of the playoffs, and this year was bad. They were going to lose to Denver anyway, but you have him come in now.
Okay.
You have a guy who comes in now, and your basketball IQ as a team goes up about 80 points.
But who are your shooters now? And I know we got
one of the reasons Phoenix
who's going to shoot on this Warrior team outside of Steph and Clay.
One of the reasons Phoenix said bye-bye is for the same reason the Warriors just traded Jordan Poole, because of the luxury tax implications, and 2, they plan to play Devin Booker at point guard. That's what Eddie Johnson said. That's why they got rid of him.
Okay, but if this were Chris Paul in 2012, it would be featured that this is a big 3. So that would have never happened. Hey, Dev, stay where you're at. We got the point guard in Chris Paul, but now he's older.
Right.